Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a subscriber story, an email that was sent from a subscriber about his childhood and how he lost his virginity at 17 at a biker compound. And this is definitely different than the usual stories I go over, guys. Usually they're from Reddit, and they usually involve gals acting crazy and things like that. But this one is a little different and definitely very entertaining, about a different world with regards to bikers and their lifestyles, and how, like I said, this guy lost his virginity at a biker compound. It's definitely very entertaining. And a little twist at the end that makes you say, go figure, you never know. And that'll be a good one here, just to mix things up every great once in a while, because this is They Did What, and about crazy stories and all that. A little longer, so I'm going to cut to the chase and read his story. I think you'll find it pretty entertaining, and again, any bikers out there might appreciate what I'm going to read to you. It says here, Dear They Did What? I'm chiming in to tell you about the night I first got laid. Both in Navy boot camp and on the ship I served on and in the oil field, every time I tell this story, the guys are riveted when I was telling it. They kept asking me to tell it to them over and over again, and they never got tired of it. Apparently, it's very entertaining. I don't know, maybe you'll be the judge. It definitely is entertaining, and this is why I'm doing it today. And you can tell this guy's told this story so many times over the years, he's become a master at telling it. This all started in high school in Citronelle, Alabama. It was in between classes. I was laying down on a brick raised flower bed, tossing a baseball in the air, doing what my dad called playing a game of catch with gravity. And sitting next to me was my best friend. We will call him Danny. Danny was taking bets from classmates on the next Ole Miss football game. In addition to being a gopher for a local motorcycle club and a straight-A student, he made a little money on the side as a bookie. In between taking money and jotting coded notes down on his Trapper Keeper, I haven't heard that one in a long time, he was talking to me. The conversation lulled, and I said, totally talking out of my ass, you know what I want to do this weekend? I want to get into a fight or finally get laid. Danny snorted, buddy, you're the tallest kid in school. Every moron bruiser here wants to fight you. I scowled, catching the baseball. Tell me about it. I tossed the ball up again, and Danny mused, but if you want to get laid, I can arrange that. So Danny is a gopher for a local biker gang. He is a part-time bookie in high school. And what is he, also a pimp too? That got my attention. The baseball smacked me in the palm of my hand and quickly sat up. Huh? What? Did I hear you right? Danny grinned. He said, yeah, I can make that happen. All ears, I asked, how? He shrugged. There's a party this Saturday in Mobile. If you come along as my guest, I can arrange it. No problem. I didn't believe him, but I was 17 and horny and as a jackrabbit. He said, we just need to make a few stops on the way. Well, any 17-year-old hearing this be music to their ears. Now a little backstory here. When Danny's granddad got back from Korea, he missed the camaraderie of being in the Corps, so both he and the locals with him who made it back started a motorcycle club, aka gang. It passed to Danny's dad, and as soon as Danny was old enough, he bought his own Harley, and he got a chance to earn his top rocker. We need to make a few stops on the way meant that we need to stop and pick up an associate of Danny's. In Saraland, Alabama, there's a popular pool hall, bowling alley that is a favorite hangout of the motorcycle club in question. They were shooting pool and having a few beers when a fight broke out between a club member and one of the locals. The club member pummeled some poor schmuck, got sucker punched from behind by a guy we'll call Mickey. That's not his real name, but a distinguishing characteristic of this guy is a crappy Mickey Mouse tattoo on his left bicep that he got when he was a juvenile. He also hasn't been nicknamed Omelette by those that knew him because he already allegedly did every drug known to man. This is leading up to the main story, guys. It was a cheap shot, and it damn near knocked the club member out. The other bikers angrily surged after him, but he darted out the back door and whipped through the back alleys until he was lost from sight. When the club president, gang leader, found out about it, he put a stomp out on Mickey unless he made amends to the club. For those of you that do not know, a stomp is a non-lethal, usually beating on someone who has disrespected a motorcycle club member or their cut. And he says a cut is a member vest. Danny knew Mickey since the first grade, so they told him to please find him and tell him that he needed to call and talk to the club president. This will tell you how old the story is. Mickey, who was in hiding, snuck out and found a payphone and called the president at the club chapter house. Again, gang leader. Payphone, huh? Yeah, we're going back in time. I believe he mentioned something else in this story, and I think this is taking place in the mid-90s, I think. There's some clue later on in the story. The president laid out the terms of making amends. Bring beer, booze. He gave Mickey a list. And an apology to an upcoming club party in Mobile. And they call it quits and let bygones be bygones. Mickey whined, "How am I supposed to afford all this booze?" And the president snarled, "Figure it out," and slammed the phone down. So let's see. The gang leader wants to settle this and says, okay, spend a lot of money on a bunch of booze and everything, and we're square, or get your ass beaten down by a bunch of bikers. Tough decision. So Danny and I hopped into this beat-up, rusted-out 70 Plymouth and went to Mickey's grandma's house, picked up both of him and his grandma in her pajamas. I had to sit in the back seat with her. She smelled like mothballs, old people funk, and piss. Let's be respectful here. She then dodged into the liquor store, bought every booze item on the list with her own money, and carted it out to the car. Bringing grandma to buy the booze, huh? Well, how about he use his own freaking money, not grandma's money? We three teens helped her load in the truck. Then we dropped Granny back at her house and drove out to the party. I called shotgun. Mickey sat in the back, and on the way there, Mickey asked Danny why he brought me along. Danny told him, and Mickey laughed and made fun of my virgin status the whole way there. What a jerk. We were all virgins at some point, guys. Hell, I got guys watching me that are still virgins that are much older than that. It is what it is. The party was a double-wide trailer surrounded by motorcycles in a trailer park in Mobile, Alabama. When Danny got there, he revved up the engine of his ancient muscle car and honked the horn before turning off the engine. A huge crowd of scroungy, bearded bikers with mullets were milling around, enjoying beers and a barbecue. Surprisingly, there were a lot of women scattered through the barbecue. A boombox was blasting Jimi Hendrix' "Let Me Stand Next to Your Fire." Danny hopped out of his car and shouted, "Who's ready to get pissed? The liquor has arrived." A massive cheer went up. I asked Danny, who were all these girls? Leaning on the car's open window, he replied, "A few old ladies, a few girlfriends, some family members, and more than a few biker groupies. Come on, I'll introduce you." Biker babes, huh? I got out of my car. Mickey crouched down in the back seat. I said, "Are you getting out or what?" He said, "As soon as they see me, I'm a dead man." Danny said, "Oh, don't be silly. These guys are all right. Besides, I cleared a safe passage with the president." "Come on out," Danny said to me. "Take the beer to those three coolers over there so they can put it on ice." Yeah, well, these guys don't know you. So they're probably like, who the hell's this kid? So obviously, the guy telling this story could be in some trouble unless his friend vouches for them. They're not going to be very trustworthy if some newcomer coming in they don't know. Because usually shady activities can go on to these events. I said okay and picked up the 324 packs of Budweiser and made it for the coolers. Budweiser, huh? Something tells me this gang nowadays wouldn't be drinking Budweiser, if you all know what I mean. Halfway there, a biker stood in my way. "Who the F are you?" he growled. I said, I'm such and such. I came here with Danny." The guy leaned right, looked over my shoulder, and bellowed, "Danny, you know this beanpole?" Danny said, "Yeah, that's my buddy. He's okay." I turned to look at Danny. He and Mickey were talking to a mean-looking biker with a Hulk Hogan mustache. The biker in front of me shouted, "You vouch for him?" And Danny nodded. The guy glared at me but stood aside. I opened the coolers. They were nearly empty. Well, no shit. The bikers they're gonna drink all the beer. Got to do a restock. I took the cold beers and put them into the cooler on the left, then scattered the rest into the other coolers. I then turned around with empty cardboard beer cases to see every biker and girl looking at me. I asked, "Where's the trash?" Everyone pointed in the direction of the dumpster, and I said, "Thank you." I'm picturing like that movie Stone Cold. And you guys know what I'm talking about from the 90s, the big gang, the Brotherhood, but these guys aren't the Brotherhood. After I threw them out, I walked to where Danny, Mickey, and Hulk Hogan Mustache were chatting it up. From what I gathered from the conversation, Hulk Hogan Mustache was the motorcycle club president. You mean gang leader. Who just finished chewing out Mickey for the bullshit last weekend. And we're all waiting for the guy he was supposed to apologize to. But for the time being, he was currently busy in one of the rooms of the double wide entertaining a lady. Finally, a young guy stepped out of the trailer, still sporting one heck of a shiner. Another biker whispered in his ear and pointed to where we were standing. His posture stiffened and he stalked over us. He snarled at Mickey, "Give me one good reason why I shouldn't bash your brains in right here." The president roared, "Because those weren't the terms we agreed to." Well, I wouldn't mess with the Hulk Hogan-looking gang leader here. Does he have giant arms like Hulk Hogan too? The pythons? That got everyone's attention. The kid stopped in his tracks. Someone shut the music off. It got really quiet fast and rather tense. The president, with a hawk-like glare, pointed a finger in the black-eyed guy's face and whispered, "So don't even think about it." He turned around, saw me, he did a double take, glared at me for a second, then raised his eyebrows, frowned, sighed, and shook his head, dismissing my presence and asking Danny for the liquor receipt. He then took a pair of reading glasses out of his vest pocket and read the list. 3 24-packs of Bud, again, the Budweiser, 2 bottles of peppermint schnapps, 3 bottles of vodka, 2 bottles of rum, a 12-pack of Coke, and 6 bottles of Jack Daniels. Holy crap. Yep, that's everything. Okay, he handed the receipt back to Danny and gestured from Mickey to the black-eyed biker. I believe he has something to say to him. Mickey said, "I'm sorry, man. I shouldn't have done that. My bad, man." A few seconds went by, then the president said, "Okay, that's it. Are we square?" So shit went down. He made amends. The gang leader, the biker gang leader, doesn't want any bullshit going on. End of story, but it's not going to stop there. And don't worry, we're getting soon to him getting laid and that funny shit. He said, "No, President, no. He met the terms." The black-eyed kid shook his head and said, "No." The president said he met the terms. He came here. He bought the booze. He apologized. What else is there? The kid replied, "I just want to hit him back just once." His eyes locked on Mickey's. The president groaned and face-palmed. He looked up at the stars, shook his head aside, and said, "Fine, just once." You're damn right. This Mickey character freaking sucker punched this guy. This guy deserves to clock this guy back. It's not going to kill him. Mickey said, "Hey, what the F, man?" The president said, "Oh, don't be a effing baby, all right? It's not going to kill you. He'll hit you once, you'll be square with the club. You'll be fine." A circle of bikers formed all around us. Mickey, seeing he couldn't get away, sighed and nodded. Black Eye asked, "Face or gut?" Mickey said, "Gut." "What was that?" Black Eye asked, a finger dramatically behind his ear. "Gut," Mickey repeated. The biker kid punched him in the groin and said, "Did anybody else hear nuts?" Clutching his groin, Mickey collapsed. Everyone started laughing uproariously. I did too. I didn't like him very much either. The president raised his hand and everybody suddenly went silent. He turned his attention to the double-wide, Tammy, a buxom, black-haired biker lady who wore combat boots, torn blue jeans, and a Ramones t-shirt, said, "Yeah." President, glaring at the black-eyed biker, said, "Give me an ice pack," she said. "You got it," and disappeared into the trailer. Well, this biker chick's going to come back into play in a moment, as you guys can imagine. It grabbed the black-eyed kid and hissed some angry words into his ear. Whatever it was, it pissed the kid off to no end. Prez shoved him towards the row of motorcycles. He looked like he was going to say something, but the Prez snapped his fingers and pointed away. The black-eyed biker angrily hopped on his motorcycle and revved it up before roaring away, clearly in a rage. Well, he probably said, "Don't question me in front of others," or something, and get the fuck out of here. Prez, the gang leader, squatted down and said, "See there, kid, I told you you'd be all right. So how about it? You ready to party with us?" Mickey, his face contorted in pain, said, "Okay, sure, okay." President stood up. "All right, turn on the music and let's get this party going again." He then looked at me and said, "You, yeah, you, who the F are you? I don't know you, and I damn sure didn't invite you." This is why these outfits are very suspicious of strangers, and even somebody vouching for them, they're still suspicious. Danny spoke up and he said, "He's with me, Prez. He's my guest." Again, his friend is the third-generation biker. Grandpa started, and I guess somehow, whatever it was, how this thing worked was passed down to his dad. Maybe his dad was a leader, and now this other guy, maybe this guy will be the leader of the gang one day. I don't know. The president glared at me for a second and then asked, "Are you cool?" Confused, I said, "I beg your pardon." Prez said, "I said, are you cool?" I shrugged and said, "Well, I think so." The Prez said, "You think so? Get the F out of here." Danny stood in between us. I said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 Prez, easy. He's not hip to the lingo." He turned to me, my name, and "Are you cool about keeping quiet about..." Then he mentioned something about smoking a joint. I suddenly laughed. Clearly you haven't met my neighbors. They're way into that. So obviously he's smoking a pot and other activities going on there. Gotta make sure he's not gonna blab, make sure he's not a cop. You get the point. Danny said, "You see, Prez, he's cool." Prez said, "What the F did you bring him here for?" I was about to say to help carry the beer, but Danny said clearly, to get him laid. He's a virgin. Oh my God, this guy said out loud in front of a whole bunch of bikers and the biker babes, this guy's a virgin. I can't even begin to imagine that embarrassment. I wanted to crawl into a hole. I was so embarrassed. Prez threw his head back and laughed his ass off, and so did everyone else. Yeah, I can see that coming. But you know what? Everybody was a virgin once, okay? And hell, there's virgins now. That's their own business. People started saying, "Virgin, oh virgin." I blushed beet red. Prez said, "All right, ladies, to anyone here who's not an old lady or girlfriend, we got ourselves a virgin here who wants to F him." Okay, well, your buddy was obviously serious about hooking you up that day. More laughter ensued, but was surprisingly followed by a few ladies who stepped forward to take on the task. The buxom woman in the Ramones t-shirt, Tammy, who just handed Mickey an ice pack, stepped forward and said, "Hey, F you bitches, I'm gonna F him. It's gonna be me. Come on, tall guy, let's go get a room." Talk about a different world. Now imagine you're a 17-year-old kid, and you haven't had you know what yet, and your mind's in the gutter all the time, and you get one of these biker babes, and even if she's older, still pretty much want to do whatever. She then took me by the hand and pulled me into a double wide. I was still blushing beet red as she pulled me through a living room loaded with pot fumes in the air. There was a circle of folks around a couch passing around a joint. At a ping pong table, others were playing beer pong. Men in Black on VHS was playing on the big screen TV. Aha, that's the clue. So it was the late 90s. So we're talking 25 years ago, something like that. The dining room table was surrounded by bikers playing Texas Hold'em, and she pulled me through all that and then took off her combat boots, then took off one sock and addressed the room. She said, "Do not disturb, we're busy in here." She then made a show putting the sock on the doorknob, which was met by bikers whooping, laughing, clapping hands, and pounding on the table. How many of these bikers has this woman serviced? That's what I want to know. Please tell me you wore protection. Now, I mean, I know he does, but you get the point. She asked me, lights on or off? I said, "Oh, I want to see what's going on." She grinned. "With condoms or without?" I said, "With." She noddingly approved. Smart kid. You shitting me? You bet your ass you're going to wear condoms. I know those aren't the details usually people go for stories like this. Most people just want to hear details about the boffing. Well, she wanted to be on top. That was fine by me. The first time I popped my cork and saw a woman, she stood up, naked as a jaybird, opened the door to a room of bikers and said, "Am I an outlaw or what? I just stole someone's virginity." Good Lord. Well, you know what? You're getting late. And you know what? Since that was your first time, you probably blasted your load probably under 20 seconds. When she slammed the door shut, the laughter outside continued for at least 5 minutes. I could hear a biker laughing the words, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe." As I said, her name was Tammy. Why am I not surprised her name was Tammy? Her brother was a club member. She had her own Harley and everything, but the club didn't allow women. She was allowed to hang out, and to use her own words, she basically did whatever and whoever she wanted. Well, that's why they're keeping her around. She looked like Joan Jett with a big rack and a muffin top. I could tell that at one time back in the day, she was a raving beauty, but she was now a widow in her 40s. You know what? You still got late. You had to get that out of the way. She was also a self-proclaimed nympho. And once I got over my initial embarrassment and fear of SCX, she put me to work that evening. Let me tell you, I was 17 and flooded with puberty hormones. Yeah, the second Old Faithful went off. You were probably recharged 5 minutes later and off for round 2, round 3. And she was more than happy to have some eager 17-year-old do whatever she wanted. She definitely took advantage of my youthful reserves. Me. I was eager to please. She was amused at how much I enjoyed her endowment, but unfortunately she never quite knew when to say when. By the 5th time, I thought she would want to go back to the party. But no, she wanted to hit me again. After a few minutes of rest, she was either pawing another rise out of me or giving me a mouth hug. I was actually relieved when Danny finally knocked on the door and said, "We gotta go." Tammy said, "F off, Danny, we're busy. After I come, he can go. More loud laughter followed, which distracted my sweaty efforts, but I plowed away until she finally climaxed and lay there, comfortable in nudity as I got dressed. When I finished, she kissed me and slapped my ass, telling me to look her up next time I was in Mobile. I never saw her again. I looked up Danny on Facebook recently. He's now a Baptist preacher. Go figure. There you go, guys. That'd be very entertaining. When I enjoyed reading this when I was having lunch today and said, all right, I'll do something different. It'd be a good one to go over. Plus, he took the time to tell his story. How funny is that? This guy's now a Baptist preacher. So, you could, for you church-going folks, you never know about your man of the cloth. Anyhow, guys, that'll be a pretty interesting one. This whole experience of the biker compound and president. This is a gang leader here, and what goes down there. But I can't say my virginity story was anything close to being that entertaining and unique. But that'll be a good one to cover here. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, if you got a good story you'd like to share, if you find a good story online, definitely email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Give me time to get to it. If it's a good one, I'll definitely do it. And hell, if you got a good personal story that's on the crazy level, send it in too. If it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.